Hey guys, I'm Nixie. Just a quick look at my version of Demon Form Archmage. This is kind of off the back of Waffle Loves ARPG's video that he did, a really cool Stitch Demon version. I put a few comments on there and started to get a lot of feedback, so I just thought I'd kind of run through in a video format kind of my thoughts and how I've approached this, and what changes I might make. But obviously, like, you make the decision on what you think's best. I'm not a content creator or anything like that, so this is just me going to be kind of putting in some information. I won't cover the basics of how Demon Form works. Hopefully you've watched Waffles or you have an understanding of Demon Form, so I won't explain like why we're low HP and things like that. So the way I've approached it, I'm still the Mana and ES version, so I'm not Stitch Demon. This is kind of the hybrid version, or the more regular version. I prefer this because this way he spends mana instead of spending life. For me, there's one really big important thing about this, or two actually. One is that we get to utilize Mana Storm, so Mana Tempest. So Mana Tempest is a really strong buff that we gain. Basically, it's a really big damage multiplier off the rip, even for single target, but it also provides Chain and Fork, which is insanely strong for Spark and really helps our clear. I find this especially useful really early in the map. So when you're on, like, 10, 20, 30 stacks, this will help you kill rares if you get a really early map rare and things like that. And then after that, you're kind of cruising. But I still tend to use it all the time anyway, just because of the benefit of clear. I will tend to just dash Mana Tempest, cast, dash Mana Tempest, cast as I go through a map. And yeah, that's generally how I play the map. Ball Lightning where needed and things like that, obviously. Not Ball Lightning, sorry. Lightning Orb where needed and things like that. So that buff, and then Arcane Tempo, or Arcane Surge, sorry, is really good. So if I spend enough mana, which doesn't actually take that long, it takes longer than I'm not doing form, but I can keep the buff up permanently if I'm constantly casting, so I can get it back within its own duration if I'm like perma-casting. And Arcane Surge is a cast speed buff and also a mana recovery buff, so both of these things are nice for this build. Anyway, the changes between this and Stitch Demon are quite simple, really. Stitch Demon, you are going to be life tapping Spark, so Spark will be spending your life instead of your mana, which is why you can't use these two things that I just discussed on it. And you will swap that for, I actually have in my sockets Arcane Surge in here, so this is how I gain that buff. You would swap that for life tap and just go from there. Basically, there are a couple of things on the tree that you would change. So I have increased Arcane Surge effect. You're obviously not getting Arcane Surge, so that can go. And with those points, I would just try and stretch maybe to this dual socket over here or something like that. But the big difference in my tree versus Waffle's tree when he showcased that is that mine utilizes kind of a lot more nodes and less traveling. So in Waffle's version, he came kind of path all the way around down here, all the way down to get this point here, Hail Heart, which I've actually just anointed instead. And obviously he's gone for the dual sockets for the regen. We all know this build is heavily reliant on regen, but I actually think that maybe he overstretched and could have pulled his tree in a bit tighter, because these three clusters are incredibly strong for Spark. This one here, Branching Bolt, this chain does work with Spark. Historically in PoE 1 it didn't, it does now, so this will chain. Duration is really important in Spark. Projectile speed is really important in Spark. Basically, projectile speed and duration mean that the Spark bounces around, hits the target more times, hits further away targets if we're clearing, just makes the whole build feel just nicer to play in general. So this is how my tree looks for the ES version. It wouldn't look very dissimilar at all for the Stitch Demon. We'd pick up the Mind Over Matter, we'd take out this Arcane Surge effect, we would push for either this socket here on a 4-point or this one here on a 4-point. Actually, that's a 5-point. 1, 2, 3, 4. Either of these anyway. I think this is the closest one here. Yeah, this is a 4-point dual socket. So yeah, this would be probably what I'm pushing for here. And that's the only differences really. So it's up to you which you play. The only other thing I would change is I would change Grim Feast, obviously, because you won't have ES because of how Stitch Demon works. You would change this Grim Feast over to Mana Remnants, which allows your mana to overflow. Because you're not spending it, it can actually overflow. Obviously, if you're spending your mana, you'll never overflow it. But because you're not, and you're spending life, you can overflow it. And that's pretty much the changes I would make. There is, like I say, another version in the works that I'm thinking of at the minute, but it might not even work. If that theory graph comes to life, maybe I'll do something to update you. I will post the Mobalytics. You can see I don't run conductivity. Mobalytics will show to run conductivity. I play with a partner who plays a form of like curse bot style build. That also freezes time. If people want to see how that works and why it synergizes so well with this, we can do something else on that. But that's another video. Anyway, thank you guys. Catch you in a bit.